Today, you're going to learn how to create an optical illusion and add the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors to this artwork to also create a color wheel. So what you're going to need is your ruler, a pencil and an eraser, and of course your colored pencils. If you don't have a ruler, you can always improvise and use the edge of a notebook, something that has a thicker surface and a straight edge that you can make your straight lines with. So a notebook, a binder, piece of cardstock would work as well. All right, so let's get started. So first thing we need to do is we need to decide where our center point will be. And if you look at this one, it's not in the middle of the paper. It's actually off to the side. So it makes the optical illusion more interesting when you put your center point off to the side. So I'll start by making a dot. All right, and I'm going to need 12 lines radiating out from this dot in order to create all of the colors from the color wheel. So you're just gonna basically start drawing straight lines away from that center point that you created. So I'm trying to make them somewhat even just so it will be easier to draw out the curved lines. Definitely make sure to recount so you didn't mess up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, I have one too many. So I'm probably going to take away from this one right here. Good thing I counted. If you don't count, you could possibly mess up and then you'd have to restart. So notice I'm pressing pretty hard with my pencil. I would not do that if I were you, because when you erase, you can see the lines right here. And I'm only pressing hard so that you can see the lines in the video. So I'm gonna adjust those lines so they're a little more even, and I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, so now I've got my 12 lines and they're pretty evenly spaced. So my next step is I need to create curved lines going outward in every other section. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So it doesn't really matter where you start. I'll start here. So it's like a smile, right? And then I'm skipping one and I do that smile again. So notice all of the smiles, curves are going inward toward that center dot. So make sure they all go inward in the same direction. And you want them to be pretty close in alignment with one another because it will be easier to create the outward curves. But let's first finish the inward curves. Don't make them too close. You'll never get done coloring. I would go out maybe 2 fingers wide. So you make your smiley faces. And you just keep going until you run out of room. And I've got so I'm going to try to kind of do an imaginary line across to make sure they're about even. Here again. Here again, I go straight across. I kind of eyeball it to make sure. Straight across. There. Okay, so I'm going to keep going for some sections. Here. And here. And here. And this is a little close, so I'll leave that. I'm going to add one more here. And one more there. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the empty sections, and I'm going to do the same thing, but it will be opposite. So the curves will go away from the center point. And I attach them to these curves. And I just keep going out until I have attached all of the curves with one another. I will need a partial one here. You can see that. Now that does not line up, so I'll have to fix that, and that's okay. And this is going to partially disappear as well. I'll have a partial one right here. So notice how they all attach. Super important. Okay. So I need to fix that one. So I'm actually going to go back and I'm just going to erase this one a little and bring it down. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I don't really like this empty space, so I'm just going to do a partial one here and here and maybe like that. Okay, that's up to you. You can decide if you want to do that. All right, so we have our setup. And now our next step is we need to create the circles. You want to do that first before you start coloring, because obviously you can't erase after that. Okay, so you're going to have to find something to create a circle with. Now you can use your water bottle, or you can find something other than that to trace. So I've got this. This is a little big. What I do like about this optical illusion is if you can make your circles larger in the outer area and then they get smaller as they go towards that center dot, it looks like they're farther away in your optical illusion. So I don't expect you to make 3 circles. You can just do 1, but if you want to do 3, consider making them different sizes just so that you can create that more effective optical illusion. So I'll just do 1 circle, and I'm going to put it kind of over here, pretty far away. And I'm just going to trace this. And like I said, if you have a water bottle or something else you can use, that would work. Okay, so I definitely need to erase all the lines inside that circle now. And hopefully you did not press as hard as I did, and you won't see your lines. You definitely don't want to see them. Okay. All right, so how do you create the optical illusion on the circle? So what you need to do is you kind of need to eyeball where the center point is. It's right about there, okay? And then what I do is I start drawing curved lines from the center. So definitely press lightly with this. You might have to do this a couple times to get it the way you like it to look. But I'm going to create curved lines, kind of like a smile again, right? And they're going to go away from that dot that I created, and I want them to be about the same width. I'm trying to create a checkerboard, okay? So now the lines on this side go the opposite way. Okay, so that is, it's okay. I would probably make that a little more like that. There. And erase it. All right, and then it's easier to turn your paper, so definitely turn your paper. And now you need to draw your lines across this way. So you're going for a checkerboard. Okay, so there you've got your circle turned into a sphere, and you can get rid of that little dot. You don't need that anymore. And then you're going to very lightly now make little X's to help you draw your checkerboard. Now I'm going to press harder so you can see it. Do not press hard, because when you try to draw like a light color like yellow or orange or the greens, well, almost every color over your X's, you're going to see them. So you're going to want to make, you can make little dots or little X's, whatever's easier for you, but make them really light. Now I can't do that because then you won't see it in the video. So you definitely want to create that pattern AB, AB. It doesn't really matter where you start, but don't hop around. So I'll start here, make my X, and then I know checkerboard will be here. It's always corner to corner, right? And then here there will be one. So I help by doing corner to corner. I help myself. Okay, if I hop over here and start, then I'll mess it all up. So always go from one end to the other. Corner to corner. Okay, so we got that set up. Now let's set up this. We also have to kind of create a checkerboard pattern, for lack of a better word, because we're alternating with color, then white, color, then white. Okay, so definitely plan it out so you don't mess it up. All right, so I am going to also make the X's again, and I will remind you once again to press lightly when you do this. I start in the center. Do not start out there and then go over there. It will mess you up. Start in the center, skip one, go over here, skip one, skip one, skip one, skip one. All right, hop out to this section. You know you're not going to do one here because then you won't get that pattern. So you go over here and then you make your X's in this section. And then you hop out here, same thing. You wouldn't do an X here because then you wouldn't create that pattern. So you go over here, start there, skip, 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 hop out here. Okay, so here when you have the sphere, you're going to have to do a little bit of thinking. We know we need one here, right? Because there's not one there. So then we know there's going to have to be one there, and then one there, all right? And then this one, okay? Because here, corner, corner to that one, And then we know this one has to be checked. This one, that one, small one there, a small one there, and that one. So now we have it all set up, and now we can start coloring. And it's really important when you start coloring that you not only have all your colors, but access to a color wheel. And you did draw one last trimester, so you should have one in your sketchbook or somewhere on another piece of paper. So you'll want to use this as a reference to help you. There's also some color wheels scattered throughout the classroom in case you need to look at those. All right, so then you just start with, I always start with the red violet, and then I would color in, either you color in the sections that are X'd or the ones that aren't, and then you erase that X after. So it's up to you, but you have to stay consistent. So I'm not gonna color it in all the way on the video because that would take too long. But if you wanna add some shading like I did here, what I basically did was I pressed really hard at the edge, and then I got lighter and lighter till I got to the center, and I added a little bit of white. You don't need to add white, you could just press lighter. So basically, for example here, I would press harder at the edge, and I always like to use the side of the pencil, and then just get lighter as I move towards the center, and then leave some white, and then press harder as I go farther to the edge. I'm got this wooden desk so you can see all the marks underneath. You don't want that. You can always put paper underneath, but I figure for the video it doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's kind of what it would look like, and you can always layer it, go back and layer, and then maybe just do really light, just a little bit of light in the center area. And you can always, if you want, go back and add a little bit of white in there. Your choice. Okay. All right, so that's the coloring of that, and obviously here you would color that any color you want, but make sure you do the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors in the correct order on your optical illusion. Now, let's say you're thinking, I've done this before. I have some 8th graders I know who've done this last year. You can change this. You can challenge yourself, and instead of drawing on the entire paper, you can draw out a shape and put the optical illusion inside of it. So I started the skateboard, all right, and I set it up, 12 lines, okay. I started drawing the inward curves to the center point. So now I just need to do the outward ones. And this can get a little more tricky because obviously this shape doesn't show all the lines, but that's okay. You can show them partially like I am here. So you could basically take any shape you want and draw the optical illusion inside of it, and then create that color wheel. So I'm going to let you decide how you want to draw it out. Definitely use a pencil to create the optical illusion. If you want to Sharpie it up after, that's fine. That's your decision to make. Okay, so obviously I need to finish that, and then I definitely need to erase where the circles go. And then I need to make the checkerboard pattern on the circles. Okay, so you decide if you want to use the entire piece of paper or draw out something and put your optical illusion inside. Have fun And don't forget to add your colors.